Hello everyone. So I was going to finish the trailer with my impact driver and the attachment, but after a few people had talked to me about switching to an angle grinder and watching a couple YouTube videos and watching just how much better an angle grinder is than an impact drill with an attachment, I decided to pick up a cheap angle grinder from Menards and an attachment to try to get going a little faster on the trailer because it was just taking way too long. And then I did decide that I'm going to remove the wiring and the caps over the tires so that I can get all of the surfaces adequately. And then I noticed that some of the wire needed to be replaced, so I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to do that all today, and then we'll be ready to move on to the painting portion after that. So let's get started. Hopefully I don't fuck this up. So what I'm using today is a 4.5-inch angle grinder with a 3-inch extra coarse knot wire cut brush. Since this is a little bit more powerful, I'm going to be wearing safety gloves today. And of course, eye protection and respiratory protection. All right, first things first, I'm going to remove all of the lighting from the sides and then also the caps from over the tires on each side. Hello, future Frankie here. You'll notice that in this video, I am wearing a tank top and shorts and open-toed shoes. This is not appropriate safety clothing. I did in fact get shards of paint and possibly rust embedded into parts of my skin, so you're probably gonna want to avoid that. The reason that I wore so few clothing is because it was over 90 degrees out and I could not handle any more clothes. I do not recommend this. Now, back to the video. Not even one side in, I'm already bleeding. So typical. Now I am aware that I was not using an impact bit as I should have been. This is an impact bit. I do not have the right size of an impact bit. Using a non-one can cause it to shatter. So I do not recommend this for you, but I didn't have the right size impact one and they are expensive. So I used what I had. Sometimes that's what you gotta do. A lot more work than I had thought it was going to be. I guess taking off the bed was just led to more work. Thank goodness I got picked this up because this is making it a lot easier, but it's still, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend doing this. I recommend, like my little brother said, just go to Harbor Freight or something and pick up a $300 or $400 trailer because this is a lot of work. But I started it, so I'm gonna finish it. Yeah. So I'm pretty glad that I decided to remove the lighting cords because I had an oopsie, even though I had removed some. And I got the grinder a little too close and stripped through the effing wire, which means I'm probably gonna have to replace more, do more with the electrical than just hook it back up to the sides. So I think the next thing I'm gonna do is take some heavy grit sandpaper to the bottom sides. And then you can see here, there's still, you know, some paint, but I have like 3 layers of covering to go on here. I'll clean up that with some fine grit. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It's a trailer for hauling things for landscaping and for other projects. And it only has to last a few more years until I feel like spending like $600 or $700 on an upgrade. So I'm gonna move on to hand sanding a little bit, and then wash it down because there's some grease on it, and then see what happens from there. All right. So I've grabbed some sandpaper, some 80 grit. And if I go through this, I've got just one piece of 80 grit from my orbital sander, because this was the only piece of regular 80 grit I could find. So I'm just gonna go underneath the trailer and loosen the paint from there. And I'm also going to remove these reflector lights off the side. First of all, they're not really connected to anything anymore, and I want to be able to get to as much of the surface as possible. Following that, I'm going to grab some soap and water and wash the trailer and get it prepared for the first coat of rust stopping paint. We'll talk about that when I get there. Next step, I'm going to get the trailer ready for the Rust-oleum Rust Reformer. And so one of the things it says on here is to clean with soap and water, rinse and let dry. Now it is 95 degrees today, so the trailer's going to dry pretty fast. However, the painting conditions say to use between 50 Fahrenheit and 90 Fahrenheit. And that's 10 degrees to 32 degrees Celsius for those of you in the rest of the world. And humidity below 85%. Like I said, it's 95. I think I'm gonna just try it and see what happens. It's an old trailer. It's only gonna be around, you know, I only need it for a few years. So if I mess it up, I mess it up. And we learn a lesson in the process. Because I'm not going to wait for the temperature to drop to 90, because by that time I will be sitting on the sofa and relaxing, or editing this content, depending on how much I get done today. All right, so let's go wash a trailer. So all I'm going to be using is just some dish soap and water and an old sponge from the kitchen. And just get into these areas, especially up front here, because I noticed that there was a lot of grease in these front areas here. have decided to skip any paint thinners or any rust removal stuff because I got rid of a good amount, I think. And so I'm going to put a coat of Rust-oleum Rust Reformer. It's going to go on all the interior and the outside of it, and then according to the can I have to let it wait until tomorrow, so like 24 hours to dry. Make sure to shake the can well. Future Frankie again. During the editing process of this video, a YouTube channel I really enjoy called Project Farm released a new YouTube video on best rust converters. And it just so happens that the rust converter that I chose, the Rust-oleum Rust Reformer, was in the top 4 of his choices. In fact, it was one of the top 3 and was one of the most affordable. Todd does a really great job of testing all sorts of tools. So check out that video link in the description below. Buy enough. This is gonna have to wait till tomorrow because I live about 40 miles away from the nearest open hardware store today, because the one in town closes at noon on Saturdays and they probably don't have this product anyway. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Well, we're at day 2 now. I went and got 2 more cans of this Rust-oleum Rust Reformer, and I'm going to apply it to the rest of the trailer, and then to get the underside, which is also important to protect you. I'm going to tip the trailer up on its side so that I can get to that area. So I'm just going to finish that and I'll be right back. Because this is going to take 24 hours to dry, I won't be able to get the painting done this weekend. So this is going to be the end of today's video. Come back for one of my next videos when I paint the frame a different color. I add a bed on, I do some rewiring, and maybe even put on the side rails. We'll see how far I can get next time. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, leave me a comment in the comment section, and have a great day.